There are 2 participants in this conference. Please announce yourself.
This is the 523 Happy Hour with your host, Kelly Lincoln, here on netrootsradio.com.
Oh.
Good evening, afternoon, whatever time you're listening to this. Welcome to the Eris and ADHD approved 523 Happy Hour, where we meander through the week's days events and or days events. It all depends on who and what you are doing that particular day. Yes, I am your host. I am the one, the only, the Kelly Lincoln, yes, where you can follow me on the Instagram, The Real Kelly L. You can like the Facebook page, Masterless People. That's facebook.com/Masterless People. Please like my page. I'm very sensitive in those terms. This has been a week for me. What a week. I am in the process of helping my waist see 89, yes, 89 inches, yes, no, actually, no, 29. And, that was a text message coming through. So, hang on. On air. So this way I can get another listener in on here. Yes, this is my week in review, along with the long neglected segment or two, short segments. My waist, I'm working on having my waist see 29 again, and I'm semi following the Atkins low carb diet, and the reason I say semi following is that right now, all I have in my house are high carbohydrate foods, and the plan I'm on only allows me to have like 22 grams of carbs a day, and so it's kind of hard when the what you have in the house is like 40 carbs per 1 cup serving. But there are ways of doing this. I have learned how to measure, and using the Atkins app, I can actually have beans and rice. I'm a type 2 diabetic, so I can have beans and rice. I just can have like a quarter cup of rice and maybe a quarter cup of beans. That's like half a cup. Works for me. It's filling. That's all I need. But I can have all the bacon I want because there's no carbohydrates in it, but there's a lot of fat. Atkins is the precursor of the keto diet, where it's low carbohydrate, high fat, medium protein. And according to what I'm supposed to be ingesting is like 1,700 calories worth in 1,700 of my calories need to come from fat. I can eat mayonnaise. I can drink olive oil. I can do all that disgusting stuff. Ew, eating mayonnaise. But yeah, 1,200 calorie, 54% of calorie intake is, that's 1,735 calories a day, of which I am supposed to, 54.5% is supposed to come from fat, with 35.8 is protein, and 9.7 is carbohydrates. It's a percentage, or 100 calories for carbs. And so far, even semi-following this diet, I have lost 3 pounds. So I am down from 168 to 165, even though I lie on a lot of things and say I'm 165, which makes me 163. I go by how my jeans fit. It's a better indicator by how my clothes fit. Also, a better indicator will be when I get my A1C tested in another month, I believe. And if it's below 7, I'll be happy. If I'm actually a few pounds lighter, I'll be even happier than that. But yeah, I fell off the carbohydrate wagon. I'm a sucker for olive bread, especially if it's, real bakery bread, not the crap that comes in a cellophane bag, but real bread. Where it's like delicious and yeasty, and so one of the people in the building I live in works for a bakery, and every so often he brings home a couple of bags of fresh bread from the bakery, and I snagged 3 loaves and I inhaled them over the course of 4 days. I was snacking on them, and that was not a good thing to do. Oh, it was a delicious thing to do, but it just totally blew my carbs out of the water, and therefore see, carbohydrates turn to sugar in the system. So when you're a type 2 diabetic, you have to watch or you're diabetic, you have to watch your carbohydrate intake, because that will affect your blood sugar. And the basic concept of a low-carb diet is that you burn your fat stores for your energy and for your brain energy. When you don't have any, and also it when you take in too many carbs or too many sweets, you can become insulin resistant, which can lead to type 2 diabetes, which is predicated on your diet. And I will say the worst thing about it is that I've become obsessed with looking at reading the cat. Oh, what is this? This looks really good. What's the carb count? Oh my God, I can't have this. 18 carbs per serving. I just need to, fall off that wagon and have my my Reese's Pieces cups. But my next big cooking plan. You also become kind of obsessed with food because of what you can eat. But I have found I like my crock pot. I like making chili, so because I can make that for a couple of days. So I found one that's low carb and has bacon in it. I'm a nice Jewish girl. Don't eat pork chops, but I'll eat bacon, because in my opinion, if God did not want us to eat bacon, he would not have made it delicious. And it is delicious, especially when it's really super crispy. I love super crispy bacon. The crunch and it crumbles. And, there's turkey bacon, but it's not quite the same. I don't know if I can, it's really not. Because it doesn't do that crinkly, doesn't have that fat content in it. That artery hardening. Deliciousness. But eventually my waist will see 29. I haven't, so when I go to work tomorrow, I'll try on a different pair of slacks and see if I can actually get them zipped and if I can get them zipped and buttoned, I will be very happy, because they are a size 12. They're a size 12. And trust me, when you've been a size 14, 16, being a size 12 is like a miracle. And it all depends on whether or not I can get my pants zipped tomorrow. Shall we take bets? I don't know. And, speaking of obsessive stuff, I am working my way back into auditioning for Audible projects. And some of them are really pretty bad, but I'm going to take swipes at them. Starting off with some nonfiction stuff, shorter books, because I don't think I can handle 268 million pages of badly written dialogue. But if it's vanity published, you can get a vanity audiobook out of it. So I'm doing that because I need some extra money. I need the money. I need the money. I need the audiobooks. I need the narration work. And also, it tends to be a lot of fun once you actually start reading it out and prepping it, and rewriting it, and by removing all the punctuation, because it's really hard to. Sometimes it reads better without the punctuation. And it was an acting technique. It was a script notation technique that I learned in college, where you sit down and you write down your dialogue without the punctuation, because we don't speak with punctuation. Or do we? Question mark. We do it for dictating, period. Or if we are Victor Borge doing phonetic punctuation. But there's some really pretty cool things to be found that are available for readers, people that are into audiobooks or want to start doing that to do. You can register for it at Audible through. You go to Amazon, then you go to audiobooks, then go to, or you can do ACX, which is what they. Let me just see if I've got my browser open. So let me see if I can find it. ACX. Yeah, acx.com. That is Audible's site where you can get your projects. Where you can just give it a shot at acx.com if you want to see if you can earn some money doing audiobook narration. This is Audible, and you're paid per project. And sometimes you can negotiate fees, sometimes most of you can't. I am a narrator, so you go to, So it's very fun and exciting thing to do. And if you're memoryless, like I am, it's a good thing. Now, I'm also seeing, and speaking of memory, I'm actually being pretty focused today, considering I am ADHD, and I have a tendency to go off on tangents and meander back to my subjects. But when I'm focused on something that truly interests me, I can more or less stay focused on it. And I want to apologize for my late night public radio voice and for the plosives. I'm going to place a windscreen over the microphone, so pardon the noise you are about to hear. This is a windscreen going over a live mic. There, isn't that better? Kind of stops the plosives from sounding so plosively. And immediately the audio is better. Yay! Also helps if I run it through the through a filter here. Going on, I was about to say that I'm in therapy. It's always good when you're in New York. Everybody goes into therapy, but seriously, it's been valuable to me, even though I can't remember anything that my therapist and I talked about. My therapist, I took a hiatus. She went up to pursue her work as a forensic psychologist, and I just started up with a new therapist who's awesome. And I realized that I can't remember what we talked about what I discussed with my previous therapist. So it's like starting over again. So that's going to be like really cool, because now I know what to expect, and I'm not as hostile. I'm not as testy, bitchy. Still won't be able to, still had to warn him that, give me something to do. It might not get done simply because it's like I'm queen of procrastination, and it's just the way it works out. And you're listening to the 523 Happy Hour here on netrootsradio.com.
Hi, it's Tom. Could we humbly suggest your donation to netrootsradio.com? All we've got to run this 24-hour powerhouse of progressive resistance radio is what comes out of our own wallets. And you are our biggest donor. And it doesn't take much, $3, $5. Just go to the bottom of our netrootsradio.com page and hit our secure donate button. Heck, you can even make a recurring contribution, and you'll get a wondiferous pair of Netroots radio stickers for application to your backpack, your bumper sticker, or your banjo. Well, it's up to you which backpack you want to put it on. So donate what you'd like at the bottom of our netrootsradio.com's homepage, because you are our biggest donor. netrootsradio.com. Together, we are Resistance Radio.
And you can listen to our live stream 24/7 over at netrootsradio.com. You can also hear us if you're on the road and you on the TuneIn, netrootsradio.com, and here on Spreaker.com. Late nights, early mornings for the 523 Happy Hour, which rebroadcasts Saturdays, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern on netrootsradio.com. And in coming up on, I was saying that I have a couple of Facebook pages that I am also procrastinating on maintaining. One is called Netkøøk of the Week, or Internet Kook of the Week. Netkøøk, Internet Kook, it's all the same. And this is an homage to Usenet kooks everywhere. Internet kooks who have been here since the beginning of time, where the king of them all was a guy known as BJ, who had a couple of hundred sock puppets that would always agree with him, and he would basically troll psychology, because where you learn, he was brilliant. He had problems with psychologists because he was a failed psychologist himself, so he felt it his bounden duty to antagonize the folks in this particular Usenet group. And there were a series of awards that were handed out for netkooks of varying degree and intensity in internet fame. But Beej took the major prizes. And so I decided to resurrect the Internet Kook of the Week. And of course, the Internet Kook of the Week on a continuing basis is Donald Trump, for his incessant whining, his incessant need to be the only thing talked about in the news cycle, the center of attention. Now, I dated a narcissist, but good Lord. Little Donnie got him beat. Little Donnie got him so beat,
How can you talk if you haven't got a brain?
I don't know. But some people without brains do an awful lot of talking, don't they?
Yes, I guess you're right.
Do you worry about Donald White House?
And I'm in the White House and I was lonely.
I know I do. Hi, I'm Martha Stewart, and there's a free service that you need to know about. It's called A Place for Dawn.
If you have a windmill anywhere near your house, they say the noise causes cancer.
They're the nation's largest bat-crazy criminal chief executive referral service, and they can help you find the right federal facility fast.
I'm not sure that I've ever even heard of a Category 5.
A Place for Dawn offers free one-on-one advice for congresspeople who haven't quite made up their minds about a referral.
I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges.
And a personalized list of maximum security homes, one of which will be perfect for an ex-chief executive. Believe me, I know. I've been there.
We told Don we found this place. It's affordable, it's great. You're gonna love it. Let's go look at it.
Caring for a delusional president with a limited grip on reality can be difficult.
God bless the United States.
But now there's a place for answers. A place for Don.
If you're struggling to get information about where to put your president during this difficult time, then call to get the free help you need. Call now. 1-800-FED-LOCK. That's 1-800-FED-LOCK.
You know I'm totally off script right now.
And the wimp was so insistent on Alabama being in the path of Hurricane Dorian that Noah finally said, yeah, you're right. It was. National Weather Service, shut up. So, essentially, well, I'm not blaming the Noah for doing this, because it was the only way they could get him to shut up about it. You know, that he was using a outdated maps. And, you know, sometimes when you're, you know, got to shut a child up from a tantrum, you have to give in to that child. Doesn't mean you do it all the time. But that's what we're up against. We have a child in the White House. I warrant Barron is more mature. And perhaps it's a blessing that Barron is nowhere near Mommy and Daddy, that his grandparents are raising him. Hopefully, his grandparents are compassionate people and are teaching him, you know, to be honorable, respectful, empathetic, you know. But we don't know. You know, we know nothing about how he is being raised. It's evidently that he was fostered out to his grandparents because Mommy and Daddy didn't have the time for him. And besides, Barron would take away precious attention from Daddy if we were all interested in what Barron was doing and where he was going to school and what his schoolmates thought of him and all of that. But then again, he saw what the children of presidents go through anyway, maybe decided to shield him from that, which in that case, that's, you know, perfectly all right. But it seems more to me that Mommy and Daddy don't give a shit. Because he wasn't even there for Christmas. Although he might grow up to be an Ebenezer Scrooge because of the neglect. He might grow up to be, you know, Tiffany's best friend. So we have our Netkøøks of the week, the month, the year. I'm going to have to come up with a new award for him. Along with, I was listening to Rachel Maddow's show earlier, and I hope you guys were too, because she brought up a story that was broken by Politico, and it seems that the military is now diverting flights to airports near languishing Trump properties, so the Trump properties don't go too broke. So we just paid a small failing airport owned by the Scots government in Pertwee. Is it Pertwee? Let's see here. I can't find it. I could have sworn it was Turnberry. Oh, the plane landed in this failing airport that the Scots government bought for £1. So the C-1, looking at the C-17 military transport planes, landed there and refueled to the tune of $11 million U.S. Can only imagine what that would be in pound. This is Prestwick Airport. And the crew stayed at the resort where they couldn't afford to eat because their per diem wasn't high enough for that. Or also they were out of place. But hey, it balanced out the loss at the resort. And that's why Pence is staying at Dunbury Golf Course to balance out that loss. We are subsidizing Donald Trump's fucking golf courses, people. That's why he wants the G7 at the Doral, because it will not so much make him money, but it will offset the loss that the toxicity of his brand has caused. One moment, please. I hope I'm still broadcasting. There we go. Yeah, I'm still on the air. I unplugged my laptop, and suddenly I saw a sleeping screen and went, oh no, I hope I'm not cut off, because I will have to start this all over again. And then I'll have to edit it together, and it'll be a frickin' mess, because I won't remember where I left off, but I digress, as usual. And I know I said that this was Arison ADHD approved, but I actually have somewhat of a script outline, so I can actually be a little bit more focused, not necessarily organized, but focused, and so that's what it is. Okay, this is not happening. So, let's see. It's not getting that refresher. See, my late night co-host has the, what was it? The night the lights went out and Georgia stuck in her head. Ha ha. I'm amused. Okay, maybe. I'll do that. There we go. And, that works. There we go. Coffee helps a lot. Oh, where was I? Oh, yeah. Then, of course, we have, speaking of my co-host, she's right in the path of the oncoming Cat 1 to Category 2 Hurricane Dorian up there on Prince Edward Island. It's right now off, I'm here in New York we're getting some of the winds and some of the rains, and we're supposed to have like a deluge this evening, unless it's already passed by. I can't tell because I'm wearing headphones and have some ambient noise going on, so I can't hear a damn thing. Yeah, I have a yeah, it's going. I can't hear a damn thing because I'm wearing headphones, and my little ambient noise thing is like going through my little Altec Lansing Baby Boom speakers, which are actually really good little speakers for the size. They're pretty loud, and I paid $30 for it. Thank you, Best Buy. But she's up on Prince Edward Island, and so if the hurricane does hit Nova Scotia, which it's projected to do, it will hit Prince Edward Island, and we may not have a show tomorrow night, so we will figure something out. There will be something happening with the late night morning talk show with Kelly and Ricky, but there might be a substitute, a guest co-host. We don't know yet. We're gonna do what we always do, play it by ear. But if you saw the images from the Bahamas, Abaco Island, and Grand Bahama, it's completely devastated, really horrific, and I guess patience in the face of a disaster and rebuilding is, I mean, we have become such a short attention span society that people are getting annoyed that things aren't recovering faster, that things aren't moving along quicker than they are on Grand Bahama Island, which is understandable. You're frustrated. You don't have anywhere to live. You want some place to live. You want a roof over your head. And there are apparently couple of more hurricanes forming in the Atlantic, which is really not what anybody needs. Yeah, there's Hurricane Gabriel, which looks like it's like it looks like Gabriel's pretty far out in the Atlantic and doesn't look like it's going to hit anybody, but you never know. Right now it's a tropical storm. And Gabriel's about 1,000 miles southwest of the Azores. So, and there's we're going to have to keep an eye on that. It just depends on, hopefully it'll just stay away from the southern coast, the southeast coast of the States, and Bermuda and Jamaica and just the islands in general, because they do not need another cataclysm, period. They just don't need it. And if you're in the sound of my voice, please make a donation to worldcentralkitchen.org to help Jose Andres feed the people of the Bahamas and Abacos, because they need the sustenance. Donate to your favorite disaster relief organization. Make sure that when you do, if you write a check, or when you do, that you tell them that it's for Dorian, for Hurricane Dorian. The folks off of in the Carolinas going to need your help. They need our help. Folks, are stranded on North Carolina Island. They didn't evacuate. They stayed there. That's some people will do. And now, but they're stranded. There's like the major flooding. And again, my belief is had not Dorian just sat on top of the, sat on top of the Bahamas for as long as it did, I don't believe the devastation would have been as major as it is. And I don't believe the loss of life will be as horrific as it pretends to be. There are already at least 40 dead. But when you take a look at the sheer devastation of the islands, you know damn well that more Bahamians will have lost their lives. And all I know is that when I was listening, the primary channel that I watch is the Weather Channel, because I'm a bit of a science nerd, and I really enjoy learning more about the weather, and when that's all that somebody does, you can get it unfiltered. And then I will watch other news programs or the movie or Turner Classic Movies, which has been showing a spate of really horrible science fiction films. Wasp Woman. And my absolute favorite bad horror movie, bad monster movie, The Giant Behemoth, which was a direct ripoff of Godzilla. Though it's set in London, and the behemoth has radioactive breath. I saw this film 11 times growing up because it was always being shown on TV. And the other day when it was shown on Turner, it's like the first time in decades that I had, since the mid-1970s, I guess, that I had seen this movie. So I've now seen it 12 times. And it's still just as horrible. And it's not so much that the bad special effects, with the stop motion, could have been better. But, people, that they did use what they had to use, Then there was this one where Alien saves the day with giant cockroaches. And can't remember the name of the movie, but it was on Fridays on Turner Classic is Bad Movie Day. There was a program on San Jose Station, Channel 36, for which the late topless dancer Carol Doda was the spokeswoman for. She was the perfect 36. No, she wasn't. But they had a program on called The Worst of Hollywood. And that was exactly what they showed you. The worst movies I made in Hollywood. These were not even the C movies. And there was also like the monster movies, creature features and all that on Channel 2 and all that goods, all those, Elvira, Queen of the Darkness. So, but it's more fun watching these movies in the middle of the day for some reason. Don't ask me why, but it is. There's just something really bad about cheesy science fiction movies where the violence, they're shooting these cockroaches with, the British Army is like with their rifles shooting giant cockroaches and larvae and worms and shit, and and they're just firing away, and you can see the cockroach dying, and these are live insects that they're in miniatures surroundings, so they look monstrously large and just. See, they couldn't do that today. They couldn't do anything that cheesy today because, they would be too self-conscious about it, and they'd have to say, "Aren't we clever?" And the CGI would be really bullshit. No, you take real insects, and you stick them in, and you miniaturize a forest, and you stick them in there, and that way they, it's much easier and less expensive to build a model village and have roaches trying to get in the door and shit. Yeah, they use roaches. Perfectly hilarious, you know. So I'm here looking at Smart News, which is actually a pretty good app. I know a lot of people have been up in arms over the fact that, it shows Fox News. Well, yeah, that's one of the sites that they it's an aggregate. It's a news aggregate. And can go to entertainment here. And you know, so you can just like scroll through it. You can remove if you don't want to read any. You can just avoid Fox News or The Blaze or The Populist or some of these other. I mean, I will look at them. I mean, you need to have know what the other side is saying. You know, you need to know. Speaking of that, I haven't really been in my usual procrastination. Haven't been following my QAnon certification course because I'm now at the point why bother? QAnon is for the most part gone, and there is a new person who's now looking to step into QAnon's footsteps. But looking at his Instagram, he strikes. Well, he is a Netkøøk. He's more of a Discordian Netkøøk than anything else. So I'll give him a good Hail Eris, but I think he's a little bit on the. He's going to end up with a crack chamber pot award, most likely, and I'll have more on him next week's show. And I forgot about my hero of the Republic, and that's Moscow Mitch, who's so upset about being called Moscow Mitch. You know, well, maybe if you actually did your job, Moscow Mitch, we would stop using the nickname Moscow Mitch. But right now you're very much in Moscow's pocket, you know. So, you know, if you want to have the nickname, if you want us to stop using the nickname Moscow Mitch, start doing your job. Secure the elections. Secure our elections. I mean, you're patriot enough to not be afraid of free, fair elections, are you? Only tyrants are afraid of that. And you're not a sycophant, are you? Not like Leningrad Lindsay, eh? You accept the neck of the Grim Reaper, but boy, you don't care about, you know, causing the death of things, but boy, Moscow Mitch really hurts you. Come on, Moscow Mitch, do your job. Do your job, you yob. Yeah. Here's a So, I actually have a little essay I'm going to read a little later about disloyalty, because that's one of the things in the description. You know. Oh, speaking, Moscow Mitch is disloyal to America. Donald Trump is disloyal to America. He's going back to Donald Trump. I mean, everybody is talking about how he is cutting funding for taking money away from bases in the United States for the wall that I guess the military is now Mexico to pay for it. But he's also taking money, defunding the European Readiness or Defense Initiative. He's weakening European defenses to build his fucking wall. Well, actually, he's not going to build it. It's going to go into the pockets of his cronies. It's just another way to steal from the American people. And if you say you support the troops and you're not outraged by what he's doing, then fuck you. Fuck you. fuck you, keep the military, both active duty and personnel, and those who gave their lives out of your damn mouths. Because you don't give a flying fig about America, the troops, period. So, I'm going to go back and play this stupid ass clip of little Donnie Trump. And then I'm going to read my essay. Maybe.
Responsible for a lot of great things for Israel. One of them was moving the embassy to Jerusalem, making Jerusalem the capital of Israel. One of them was the Golan Heights. One of them, frankly, is Iran. Iran is a very far weakened nation right now, much different. Hopefully something works out. We'll see if it happens. It happens. Wait a minute. Wait. No president has ever done anywhere close to what I've done between Golan Heights, Jerusalem, Iran, and other things. Excuse me. Wait a minute. No president has done what I've done. We have a group, I call it AOC plus 3. You could call the person Representative Tlaib. You could say Representative Omar. You could go any way you wanted to go. They are anti-Semites. They are against Israel. She had a plan to greatly embarrass Israel by going there with the fact that she wanted to see her grandmother. I assume that's true. I hope that's true. But it was very bad. Very bad. The things that she and others of that group and other Democrats have said. And they have become the face of the Democratic Party. And I will tell you this. In my opinion, the Democrats have gone very far away from Israel. I cannot understand how they can do that. They don't want to fund Israel. They want to take away foreign aid to Israel. They want to do a lot of bad things to Israel. In my opinion, you vote for a Democrat, you're being very disloyal to Jewish people, and you're being very disloyal to Israel. And only weak people would say anything other than that.
I am disloyal. I am a daughter of Israel. I contend. I persist. I wrestle with my conscience, my weight with my God. We Jews, we stiff-necked, we obstinate people have long been contrarians, never marching in lockstep. Israel is not a nation of sheep to be herded to the slaughter. It is our duty as the disloyal children of Israel to fight and speak out against wickedness in all its manifestation, be it kids in camps, bad policy, or unstable governance. The Forward, the Jerusalem Post, the Republican Jewish Coalition is bending over and smelling farts by defending Thwimp's Jew-hating comments is simply being about disloyalty to oneself, and not the canard of not really being American by not firmly attaching our lips to the smeared anus of Thwimp and Bibi and drawing in, well, you know. I know Jew hate firsthand. I grew up hearing Jews aren't real Americans. They'd fight for Israel before they would fight for America. I was physically assaulted for being a Jew. I know the bigotry. I know being called Christ killer, being accused of lowering property values, of going outside and seeing that the home had been vandalized by the same boys who beat me up on campus in 6th grade because I'm Jewish. I learned to be alone, that it was safer being inside than outside because the boys that were beating me up lived on my block. So it wasn't safe for me to even go into my front yard. Nobody did jack shit about it. Not the boys' parents, not the school. And even though I knew that it was what they were taught that did not lessen the hurt, the pain, the trauma, and I'm being reawakened to that trauma again. It took me years to be able to talk about it without choking up, without crying about it. And even though finally in college one of the guys who beat me up apologized, I gotta wonder, has he become that little asshole again because now it's okay to be a bigot, to be a Jew hater? Did he teach his kids to be a Jew hater? Did he teach his kids to be bigots, to hate anyone that wasn't them? You see, there is much more to being Jewish than supporting American or Israel interests without questioning. There is more than the high holy days, Shabbat, and keeping or not keeping kosher. There are the obligations to seek justice, to care for the community at large, to pay fair wages and not steal from one's employees. And these accretions of Jew must look out for Jew. We, by necessity, by survival, had to become insular. And in doing so, we took on some of the accretions of Christian lies. So to my fellow right-wing Jews, or even my left-wing Jews on the extreme left, don't be a capo. Don't be an apologist. Like Pharaoh, you are turning your heart to stone when you ignore children in camps, when you ignore the death of children in these quote-unquote detention camps. When your heart turns to stone and you ignore the maybe death sentence of immigrant children who are here in America because it's the only place they can get life-saving care. Don't be a capo. Don't be complicit in this. We have a moral and a God-ordained obligation to stand up and talk back and not be sheep and not walk ourselves back into the ghettos, the shtetls, the camps, the expulsions. When we say never again, we mean it. The name Israel means, even though they're they're now saying maybe it doesn't really mean it, has been defined as meaning he who contends with God. It refers to Jacob's wrestling with the angel and overcoming that angel. So from the beginning, the children Israel, the patriarch Jacob, was a contender. He wrestled with God and prevailed. And yes, we have been called a stiff-necked people, obstinate, but I firmly believe that God prefers people that stand up and fight back and talk back to a people that just go along to get along. And so I ask this question of everyone who listens to this. What are you wrestling with? What are you wrestling with? And on that note, I'm going to say thank you for listening, and now stay tuned for Katie Speaks with Katie Klaubisisch. And later tonight, hopefully, providing that she's on the air, that Dorian hasn't knocked her off the inner tubes, can join me and my partner in Coherence, Ricky, at midnight for the late night morning talk show here on netrootsradio.com.